So for my assessment tool, I chose Google Forms for a few reasons, and one of those reasons being that it is an assessment form that my students or my intended audience would be familiar with, but Google Forms is also pretty resilient in that it has a lot of features that you can use. So when you do start to use Google Forms, this is like the landing page for the site. There's a wide variety of already pre-made templates that you can use, but being an educator, I typically use the blank quiz feature or the exit ticket feature. If I were to move or go back from the template gallery and go down, this is where all of your recent forms will be posted. And for this video, I'd like to share two forms that I'll be using throughout this intended unit sequence. So the one that I kind of dissected this week within the module was my restating the question quiz. So part of the race response protocol, or the way that we're trying to get students to respond to short answer questions, would be by using the acronym RACE. This acronym stands for restate, answer, cite a detail, cite another detail, and then explain the answer in your own words. So part of this practice is really restating a question, which is something that students at the 4th grade level tend to really struggle with. So my intention with the beginning of this unit would be that students would play a variety of games, activities, complete some group work where they practice doing this skill, and then this would be the restating the question exit ticket. So for this particular form, I wanted it to be multiple choice, and I did follow a lot of the guidelines from the articles and the resources that were posted from the module. So we really didn't want any of these extra deeters with the particular wording in the question. So I tried to avoid all of that and make things really clear and concise, and I didn't want any of those kind of silly answers or the distractors within those. So all they have to do is go through and click the correct answers for each one. One of the things that I do like about Google Forms, especially that I teach, English, I teach writing and math, aside from this project, the way my grade level sets up our math is that I teach a math section to the entire grade level. So things like Google Forms really come in handy when I have 65 kids exit tickets to grade. Putting in the answers already, as you can see here by the green check mark, I have it set to automatically grading, and I require all the questions, so it makes it super easy for students to use, to submit, and it makes it easy for me to grade. When students respond to this, I can actually go up here and I can import the results to a spreadsheet, and so that makes it really easy to then infiltrate into my personal gradebook. One last thing on here that I did want to talk about were the settings. Again, I mentioned at the very beginning of this video that I made this a quiz. You can release the grades at a particular time or immediately after students submit, and then there's a lot of different other point value questions. There's just a plethora of settings here that I could go on and on about, but I really like that it can be customizable to really your audience or what your intentions are. Now, aside from the multiple choice, and although I did talk about the multiple choice here in this particular form, the other form that I'll be using with the students is more of a short answer form. So here is one that I've mocked up for our 4th grade classes. So the intention here is that our protocol would be used across all of the grade levels. And the little thing that's different than the other one was that in this one I decided to do like the long answer text. So I clicked paragraph for this because they would be typing in their actual race responses, and then I would infiltrate it into the Google Sheets from there. But I like that this has the drop-down menu, and much like the former's Google Sheet or Google Form, I use multiple choice. There are a wide variety here of different types of questions and different responses, and for this one it would be the easiest to use a paragraph, so students have ample space to write. Now I suppose the only downside to this particular format is that obviously it's not automatically grading, but that is really where the RACE protocol comes in. The benefit to the form is that it gives me all of my students' responses in one place when they do decide to respond here. I can add them to the spreadsheet and I can share it with students, I can share it with other teachers, all of the data is right there, and then typically with the RACE response, the students are grading each other's answers and providing feedback, so all I really have to do is copy and paste the student's answer into a Google Doc or a Google slide and then print off, or we grade them digitally. So the Google Forms does a really good job, whether it's the multiple choice or the short answer, at organizing my students' work and our thought process throughout the unit plan. So I'm excited to get this started in this mini unit here, and I'm really hoping that these questions go well. We're using some state test-based questions here with the short answers, and then my intention was to use my own questions that I created with the restating the question, which is what I did this week.